Welcome back to Disturbed Reality. The topic of mob justice is a controversial one, in particular when it comes to gory media. Very often, people will read the title of a video and discern from that alone that the victim deserved what they got. The most obvious example that comes to mind is the pitbull castration video. It is alleged that the victim in the video committed SA and was a rapist. Of course, such crimes deserve no sympathy, and as far as I'm concerned, punishments for such crimes here in the Western world are far too lenient. At the very least, these types of people should never see the free world again. I can see why people may view such a video with a lack of sympathy given the accusations, but ultimately, that is all they are, accusations. For all we know, the victim could have been perfectly innocent of the alleged crimes. Potentially, it may have been a case of mistaken identity, or false accusations may have been used to justify the brutal murder. I ultimately don't have the answers, but I feel it is still appropriate to cover such cases in a way to where I am not acting as the judge, jury, and executioner. The reality is, although this mindset, without a doubt, has ridded the world of some truly evil people, on the flip side, it would have also taken the lives of innocent individuals. The most pertinent example being the case of Richard Carrillo, an alleged rapist and murderer who was slaughtered by inmates in prison, only for it to be later revealed that Carrillo was innocent of the alleged crimes. If you would like to hear more about this case, check out my first video on cases of mob justice. The link will be in the pinned comments. Take this as a disclaimer. Many of the cases mentioned in today's video have very little backstory, if any at all, which we have to bear in mind. But nevertheless, let's get into it. Number 1. Colombian street justice. In late September or early October of 2022, an unnamed 15-year-old girl went missing in the Colombian municipality of Algarrobo. Her body was tragically found a few days later, located in a rural area. Her body showed that her death was no tragic accident. Instead, her body showed signs of torture and severe SA. It is unclear to what her cause of death was, but her body was found mutilated and dismembered. Upon the discovery of the body, police immediately launched an investigation into the tragic murder. However, on the same day that her remains were found, locals identified the alleged perpetrator as Roberto Tatis de la Rosa. The local townspeople quickly mobilized and searched the area for the alleged killer, and eventually tracked him down. He was found hiding in farmlands on the outskirts of the town. Roberto was beaten up and dragged back to the town by the bloodthirsty mob. The exact cause of Roberto's death isn't clear, though it is suspected that he was beaten to death and suffered grotesque head injuries. On or around the 10th of October 2022, a grisly video was released to social media, shedding some light on what occurred that night. The video is only around a minute long, though it showcases the aftermath of what happened to Roberto. The setting is that of a rural type town, and the video is shot during the night. Roberto can be seen laying on the ground motionless as he is surrounded by a gang of people. It's hard to tell, but I would estimate that the mob consisted of at least 20 to 30 people. The crowd are yelling and chanting. It's a very loud video. Upon closer inspection of Roberto's lifeless body, it is clear to see why. He has been severely beaten by blunt melee weapons. It also appears that he has been partially stripped naked. He is laying down on the ground, and his head is laying in a pool of blood. In fact, his head has been completely smashed to pieces, to the point to where his skull has lost all of its structure. Brain matter can be seen all over the grounds. A man with a thick wooden stick repeatedly smashes it into Roberto's caved-in head as the crowd cheers. Men in the crowd then take turns to bash Roberto's brains into becoming pure mush. The person taking the recording then zooms onto the victim's head, and you see the full extent of the damage even clearer. As the men in the crowd continuously beat Roberto's skull, a large piece of his brain seems to pop out. It is white in colour. Every strike of the wooden stick produces a thudding yet squishing sound. Sirens can also be heard in the background. According to reports, it said that police tried to apprehend the suspect, Roberto, before the crowd ended him, though they were blocked by the townspeople from arresting him. It's said that the investigation into the murder of the 15-year-old girl is ongoing, and an additional investigation into the murder of Roberto is also underway. Let's hope that this wasn't a misunderstanding or a case of mistaken identity. Overall, the whole case is tragic. No one, let alone a 15-year-old girl, should meet such a horrific demise. Of course, if Roberto was guilty, then I have no sympathy. Though, as of right now, the details surrounding the case are unclear. Number 2. Haitian head smash. This is another very recent video. Many speculate that the video was first uploaded to social media in October of 2022, and subsequently it has made its way onto various gore sites. In regards to pure brutality, this is one of the most savage videos that I have watched in a while, so take my warning and do not search for this video. The gruesome clip comes out of Port-au-Prince in Haiti, and the victim in the video was allegedly a rapist, though not much more information can be obtained surrounding the case. In recent years, due to natural disasters, political corruption, and poverty, Haiti has plunged into a pit of despair. This was exasperated even further on the 7th of July 2021, when then President of Haiti, Jovenel Moïse, was ambushed and assassinated by masked gunmen. In December of 2021, the New York Times reported that Moïse's assassination might have been linked to his efforts to curb narcotics trafficking and plans to publicly expose high-ranking Haitian officials involved in the Haitian drug trade. Others, however, believe that the assassination was politically motivated and that the hit was potentially ordered by rival politicians. The case is still ongoing, with no signs of any significant leads. Regardless of the reason of Jovenel Moïse's murder, it only further added to the sense of despair and uncertainty in the country. With such uncertainty and poverty, the police cannot be relied upon to protect communities and operate in a non-corrupt manner. As a result, naturally, the local townsfolk will band together to police their own communities as they cannot rely on the law. Such an environment can of course lead to gruesome extrajudicial killings, as is the case of the video in question. It seems that after scouring the internet for more information, this case has not been covered by any news publications in Haiti or elsewhere. All we know, according to the uploaders of the video at least, was that the murder took place in Port-au-Prince in Haiti, and that the victim was an alleged rapist. But nevertheless, what happens in the actual video? The video itself is 2 minutes and 51 seconds long, and it is shot in what looks like a rural area in the middle of the day. Upon playing the video, a man can be seen laying on the ground, and he is being held down by a man wearing a blue shirt. The victim has clearly been beaten before the recording. His face appears swollen and he has blood on his head. He is surrounded by several people, I'd estimate 10 to 12. One man can be seen carrying a blunt-looking machete, while the other is carrying what appears to be a type of sledgehammer. The person carrying the sledgehammer hands it to the man who is holding the victim down. The victim then pleads with the man carrying the hammer, but to no avail. The crowd can be heard shouting angrily at the bloodied man. Another guy then walks into shot and slaps the victim in the face 2 times as he is still pleading for his life. As the victim is sitting on the floor, the man with the hammer swings it one-handed and strikes the victim on the side of the head. He then mounts the victim so that he cannot escape. At this point, the victim is still fully conscious and still trying to plead for his life. The man with the hammer then starts to talk to somebody in the crowd for several seconds as a pool of blood starts to puddle under where the victim's head is laying. After discussing with the crowd, the man with the hammer then mounts the victim further in a way to where the victim is laying face down in the dirt. As the killer is sitting on his back, he then takes the hammer and strikes the victim hard at the very top of his skull. This results in the victim letting out a piercing screech. He then strikes the victim several more times, and after the 4th or 5th strike, the top of the victim's skull pops as the structure of it has been shattered. As a result, chunks of flesh, skull, and I assume brain matter start to fly. At this point, the killer picks up a small piece of flesh, brain, or bone and puts it in his mouth, appearing to eat it. He then resumes bashing the victim's head with the hammer. At this point, the sounds of his strikes have changed. The cracking thudding noise has turned into squelching thudding noises as the victim's skull is completely destroyed. Blood then starts to spray as the killer continuously bashes the man's skull in. He eventually stops, and the cameraman then takes a closer look. Other people in the crowd are also filming, and you see what appears to be chunks of brain matter on the dirt ground. The killer's shorts and hands are covered in blood. This is where the video ends. Once again, I will warn you that this video is extremely graphic, and I would not recommend that you watch it. If anyone out there has any additional information surrounding this case, I'd be interested to take a look. Number 3. Punishment of a thief in Congo. Now, as we have discussed previously, the act of mob justice is a sketchy one, to say the least. Not only has it resulted in the tragic murder of innocent individuals, but also, on many occasions, the punishment does not fit the crime, which is the case in this scenario. It is said that the video comes out of Bandalungwa in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It is unclear to when the video was released, and there is no concrete backstory behind it, though it is said that the victim in the video was an alleged thief. The video itself is a short one at around 51 seconds long, and a naked man can be seen laying on his back on the ground. He is surrounded by dozens of people who are screaming and chanting. It is clear that the man has been badly beaten and also potentially burned. He is covered in what appears to be ash and dirt, though he is fully conscious. A man wearing a black coat then enters the camera shot. He kneels down next to the victim and lowers his head down to the victim's groin area. He then grabs the victim's penis and bites the head of it. As he bites, he then pulls his head up, trying to literally sever the victim's penis head. At this point, some can be heard screaming in the crowd. The cameraman takes a close-up recording of this, and you also see the damage in which the victim has sustained. He has what appears to be flesh wounds, more than likely caused by a blade, and also appears to have burn marks. The video then jump cuts, this time showing the victim writhing around on the ground in pain. He is surrounded by several people as they throw objects at him. The man in the black coat then reappears, and he picks up a large boulder and drops it on the victim's head. This creates a sickening thudding noise. Somehow, this does not kill the victim, or even knock him out. I can only imagine what he is going through at this point. Other members of the crowd then take trash from the ground, such as boxes and plastic, and they place the rubbish on or next to the victim. Somebody in the crowd then tries to set a blaze to the trash pile while the victim is underneath it. However, they could not get the trash to ignite. This is where the video ends. It is possible that longer versions of this video may exist, as it seemed that several in the crowd were also filming this horrific act of cruelty and violence. I think it is safe to assume that the victim later passed away. Much like the previous case, I would highly recommend that you do not watch this video. I've been doing this for a little while now, and I had a hard time watching this video as well as the Haitian hammer video, so you have been warned. And of course it is worth reiterating that in 2 of these cases, the victims had very serious allegations levied towards them. But ultimately, when it comes to allegations, sometimes they are true, and sometimes they are not. I just feel it's appropriate to mention that when covering such cases. But anyway, that is the video. I hope you enjoyed it, if you can enjoy this sort of content. Once again, thank you guys for the support. It is much appreciated. And speaking of support, I wanted to shout out a fellow content creator in this quote-unquote true crime genre. Her channel name is Getting Spooky. Really good content. If you like my sort of content, you will like the content in which she produces. So check her channel out. You won't regret it. Also, if you guys would be so kind, if you could check out my other socials in the pinned comment. You can follow me on Twitter, that would be nice. And alternatively, or at the same time, you can also follow me on Twitch, which I'm actually really enjoying Twitch right now. So yeah, check my Twitch out as well. On the Twitch channel, that is purely for letting our hair down, having a laugh, and you can get to know me a little better. So check out my Twitch if you would be so kind. But as always, stay safe, and I'll catch you on the next one.